Alright, we're gonna try this again. Alright, here we go. Alright, Fuzz One, tell me about it. How about some of the hazards in the yards?
One time I was bombed out of my mind. I made it all the way out to Queens and shit. Because all the other yards, like in the Bronx was hot. I was already gonna get ready to move to Queens in a minute anyway. So I figured I might as well let them dudes know that I was out there and shit coming to bomb. I went to the 7 yards, which is built on a swamp, bro. Dude, when it rains out there, man, the water's up to your knees, dude. You need like a boat and shit in that place. I went there with a couple of cats, was chilling. And I was doing like a Lord piece. Lord spelled out. It was a Mr. Lord. MRLORD 138. Real crack. It was like all bus yellows, blends and everything. So it started fucking pouring rain. I was like, oh, Jesus. Every time I go to the yards, it's raining, right? So I'm out there, bombing and shit. And I always like step back, look at my piece. I'm checking, where the other cats are, back and forth like this. And I was really getting into my piece and everything. But, the water, I saw that. I said, Jesus Christ, man. My boots, everything was soaking wet. And I looked down and I kind of like, moved back to see my piece. And then I started filling it in again. But one time when I moved back, for some reason I just bumped and I touched the 3rd rail, man, and the whole shit just sparked out. The trains were like Cascade Green, the whole train lit up like Marlin Blue, man. I was bugged out, sparks were shooting out all over the train. I was like, holy shit, and it just bumped me off, like pushed me off of it. And just for like a minute, man, I got like 600 volts, man, I was fucked up. So I was standing there, and nobody knew, like what happened to me. And then I was just chilling, by myself, and I said, wow, man, this fucking graffiti shit, man, this is crazy. I could have just fucking dropped dead, right there. If it would have happened to another cat, it probably would have bit the dust. Then there was like other times, man, that I used to go, like on my adventures and shit. Like one time, the 7 yard was like a tricky spot. I always used to go out there because I used to get over. They didn't know about graffiti that much until I started bombing that line. There was like a bridge that went over the 7 yards. There was like trains underneath. The yard was in the back. She was like creepy crawler. They had like animals all over the spot. And I remember one time I hang jumped like over a fence and on top of like the bridge wall like this. I tried to like do a hang jump jilly, and I had like my shopping bags and everything, and I just slipped and fell. Boom, man, I fell down. I rolled down the hill and shit like that, and there was a piece of glass like sticking out the ground, and my hand stopped, and it fucking stabbed me like right here, man. Cut my whole shit open. I was bleeding all over the fucking place. I had a bottle of Bacardi in my back pocket, and it fucking busted. My pants were soaked, man. I was a fucking mess. Oh, and it started raining that night too. Then while I was in there, they had fucking dogs in there. Fucking Rottweilers and like German Shepherds. Woo! They started fucking coming after me. So I jumped in this little fucking white Volkswagen and shit. My paint was all over the floor. My bags busted, man. I was fucked up, right? So here I am. I'm out there in the fucking rain, and these vicious fucking psychomaniac dogs are just surrounding the car. It was like some Cujo shit. So I was like, what am I gonna do now? My paint's fucked up. I got no bags. I'm all crazy. So I rolled the window down. I just got so sick and tired of the dog fucking barking and barking and barking at me. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I have to wait till morning. The guy's gonna come. I'm gonna get locked up for stealing cars. And I figured, fuck this shit, So I tried to be friends with the dog. I was like, calm down, good boy, like this and everything. I got away with animals. They love me. So finally the fucking dog was looking at me like I was a crackhead like this, saying, what is this fucking guy? He fell down a hill. He's bleeding. He smells like Bacardi. I had other beers in the bag. And I just got out of the fucking, the Volkswagen. And then the dog, jumped up on me, the real big one. He was smelling me and everything. And for some strange reason, I guess, I made friends with the dogs. I was like, okay, good boy. Then his other pals came. It was like 4 or 5 of them. The one that I remember the most was like a little scruffy one. He looked like, he wasn't like a fucking poodle, but he was just like a mutt, like a grayish white one. He had the coolest like brown eyes, and he came up to me. And he was fucking soaked wet. These were like jailhouse dogs, man. They were just striving, in the weeds and shit. And later on in life, I started going back there with bones, giving them cans of food, you know, feeding them, throwing like dry bags of food over the fence. They all come, you know, get the grub. So I got all my fucking stuff together, like my paint, my bags, and my beers, and I was like carrying them in my fucking hand. And I'm saying to myself, you know, this shit sucks. But I managed to carry it all the way from the junkyard where they sold the used cars, where the Volkswagen was, underneath the bridge, all the way out to the 7-yard. So now, when it rained, there was like these ditch pipes that went underneath the 7-yard, and they had cement on them. So they were like little sliding ponds for the water to come out of the yards, and it went into like, there was a little lagoon there. So the fucking water was like up to here, in my knees and shit, and I wasn't into climbing the fence with like a bleeding hand. So I got all my supplies and I pushed it underneath the fence through the water, and then I got down on my back and I pulled the fence like this, and I pulled myself under. I was completely, now my whole fucking body was soaking wet. I feel like somebody just fucking, you know, took a cabin on my head. I was like, this is fucking whack, dude. If a female sees me now, man, I'll never get over it. But I was over there, you know, the pain, I didn't give a fuck. So I get into the spot, and sure enough, man, that night, since I went through like all that shit, I just fucking bombed the whole fucking 7-yard. I was so happy, man. I was doing pieces. I did Lords and Princes and Romeos and DJ 2s and, you know, CK7s. The yards and the layups and the tunnels and stuff, no matter how many stories you hear, you're always going to get fucked up. There's always going to be like that bad decision. You're never going to go to the yards and just have a good time and not fall down, or the cops are not going to come. It's not like, you know, Coney Island going on a fucking Ferris wheel. You know, you're committing like a, you know, criminal act. You're drunk, you're smoking trees, you know, there's fucking owls moving around and everything. It's crazy.
All right. So, what did you like better, doing the insides, outside? Did you enjoy doing?
Well, I mean, you know, as far as being a writer, a real trained graffiti writer, dude that bombed, you know, 40 year longevity, that type of shit on some Charlie Sheen shit, so he's really out there bombing. You know, I would say, dude, I pieced under the wheels, on top of the trains, outside, in between cars, under the wheels, under the trains, but I love the insides, man. Like when I went racking, I get all my fruit colors for my pieces, and then I'd always have like one giant shopping bag of like Rust-Oleums with the Scottish Mans. I'd have like burnt orange, I'd have flat black. I did a lot of aluminums. I had silver aluminum, blue aluminum, silvers. I'd have high gloss black. I love true blue, cherry red. I mean, and then I just go in the fucking insides, dude. And it would be carpet tags, man. People coming to train, they'd be walking with like fuzz tags on the back of their suits. When they sat down, it would just say fuzz one, fuzz one, fuzz one, fuzz one, fuzz one, fuzz one. If you were a real graffiti writer, you saw that. I mean, I bombed the seats in the fucking conductor booths, advertisement signs, the whole fucking train just said fuzz. I left like Wild Irish Rose bottles all over, half chewed up cigars, fucking, you know, newspapers, cabin tissues. You know, I'd use the conductor booth as the bathroom. I mean, like, dude, fucking trees, you know, bags of weed. Like, I used to get the pink pillow bags from the red carpet spot. And, you know, beer bottles. When somebody got on a fuzz train in the morning, they knew that they were really on a fuzz rap train, you know, because, like, a Wild Irish Rose bottle would, like, roll down, you know, and spray cans would be all over the floor. Packs of Cools everywhere, you know, matches, broken fucking lighters, ink cans, you know. I'd have a pilot, I'd use it for one day, I'd just throw it in the corner. It would be like there by the conductor booth or whatever. Oh, dude, I had a fucking high old time there.